was, I guess, my drama school. You know, that was my first job. I'd never worked before in a real drama with lines, talking, you know, and telling a story. Other than, you know, TV commercials are a little bit different. You know, it's kind of hold the piece of chicken there or whatever. Whereas with Shortland Street, you know, you kind of had to hit a mark, and it was real acting. You know, so. Well, real acting, what does that even mean? But anyway, so it was my first show, and I remember the first day just being terrified and being terrible, you know, because I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, so 3.5 years on that, doing, you know, I don't know how many scenes a week, 30, 40 scenes a week, you just learn so quickly. You're doing an episode a day. So as an actor, I feel like it was very much baptism by fire. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that. I remember there was this one day where I had learnt my scene and turned up on set, and you know, with it being as quick as it was, and I'd only been there for about 6 months, and I had this moment where the AD called out, the first assistant director said, okay, let's do a lines run, and, you know, let's run the lines for the scene, and I'm like, yeah, cool, and so the actors start talking and start running the lines, and I'm listening, going, crap, I don't know this scene. I've learnt the wrong scene. And they just keep going. And then they look to me, and it's obviously my line. I've got no idea what to say. And I'm just standing there freaking out going, crap, I've got to learn this scene in the next 3 minutes. You know, it's like, and so I'm like standing behind the fake elevator, learning my lines quickly because, but it, you know, it drove so much anxiety in me to kind of get my lines right and make sure that you know your stuff because it's so quick, and there are so many people that depend on you knowing your lines and knowing what you're doing and knowing your scenes, that, you know, it was a really nerve-wracking experience, but at the same time it was so good for me to learn that really vital skill, because anything after that, everything I've done after that has been so slow. You know, you feel like you've got all the time in the world to do it. We all grow up with having these things to work through, these kind of beliefs we have about ourselves and about our family. And Daniel was no different. And I think, you know, with his upbringing and having parents split up and having some, you know, like finding out his mum's, who she, you know, Sarah Potts was his mum when he didn't know that, and I think there were a lot of layers to that I can only now see in hindsight that I probably as a young actor didn't kind of delve into. But nevertheless, through the script, there was a lot of complexity to him in the sense that he was very angsty, very angry about the world, and kind of and trying to find his own feet. And I go, you know, for me, I went through that same thing when I was 18, 19, you know, like I'm sure you did as well, and we all do. And so I feel like he was trying to make sense of the world as he knew it. He was trying to like figure out the things that he'd recorded in his past about his beliefs about himself. He was trying to figure through that stuff in the midst of a soap, you know what I mean? And so everything was slightly heightened, and he was trying to battle his way. He was the battler trying to do good things, but yeah, often falling short. Prior to that, obviously only having done Shortland Street, and then turning up to this show, which I'd found out, you know, consequently that was, you know, one of Australia's top shows with a stellar cast and all these kind of, you know, massive actors in Australia. I was crapping my pants, like I was freaking out, going, holy moly, I'm gonna screw this up, you know, like just in my mind I'm like, just don't cock this up, don't cock this up. Anyway, so I sit down first day, and and I had this realization, actually, all I just need to do is sit here and listen to her. And if she just tells me her story, and I just listen to her intently, that's about as much as my character needs to do today. So it was like a really nice start, and everyone was super encouraging and very friendly. And, you know, and working with those actors was kind of like a masterclass in, you know, in TV, because they were all such, well, they were hugely experienced actors, and I think I didn't give myself enough credit for having done 3.5 years on a show. You know, once again in hindsight, you realize actually I had much more experience than what I gave myself credit for. So I could probably have relaxed a little bit, you know. But you know, you're young, and you kind of, yeah, you just want to do a good job. Lawrence always wore very colourful socks, and no one knows that, no one saw that. But for me, it was a sense of like, underneath the structure and kind of like the rigidity of Lawrence and the sensitivity to him, there has to be like a way of doing something different in order for him, or a playfulness, in order for him to be as successful as he was, as young as he was. For me, that was a big thing. Like, how do I explain my success as a very young counsellor, that this doctor and her husband would come to me wanting to hear my opinion on their relationship when they're both 5-10 years my senior? And I figured he didn't play life by the rules. Right, and you quickly saw that in his office. It just was much nicer, much more colourful than what you'd expect. You saw that in the way that he dressed, you know, with his like cashmere sweaters. And for me, the socks kind of like told that story, or at least made sense of that to me. That he didn't just wear black socks in life. It was a kind of a metaphor. He just played it differently, and to many people that won't make sense, and they're going, that's a lot of bullshit. But for me, that kind of made sense to it, and that also gave me an explanation as to why he found himself in that position. The story itself was such an amazing story, because these guys, I think from the outside, the world just saw a successful band, a band that kind of like just threw their dice and hit it lucky. What we didn't see, or we didn't know, was how hard they worked. And people still come up to me today going, man, I love that INXS thing. I never realized how many hours they actually put in. And I think it's like that for a lot of artists, actually. You know, I think it's really easy to see the glamour and the fame, or whatever, the glitz and the shiny stuff, but we don't see the laborious kind of the time spent in a bedroom working your scales, or learning text, or all that stuff. One of my best memories from that show was the day that we're at the Sydney Maya Music Bowl, where we're filming the Wembley scenes, and we're on stage, massive stage, lights beaming down, smoke machines going, music just like blasting out, and here I am playing the drums to this, like, you know, to this incredible track, feeling like I'm a, you know, drummer to a band. And it's the closest I've ever come to going, man, I should become like a musician and try and join a band. But it was this unique experience where I'd never be able to repeat that again. And the whole show was like that. The whole show was that. Like, we found ourselves in crazy locations, doing silly things, and calling it work. You know. So yeah, it was a really, really amazing experience. Yeah. And I think, you know, I think the show was pretty honest, and as honest as it can be for mainstream TV, and I think we did the band justice. Yeah, well, we worked really hard too, anyway. Everyone recognized what we were making, so there was a sense of like team, very much like, okay, we're doing this together, as if we'd gone to battle together, but we're just making this film together. So there was a really interesting metaphor at play there. And then I feel like you know, none of us had gone to war, but we'd all tried to get an insight to what it felt like through reading and study. There was a lot of conversation with Peter, a lot of conversation about, what do you think about this, what do you think about this, what do you think about this, and especially the art department as well, because to get the texture right of everything we're doing, the wardrobe as well, was a real key element to it, and they all did a really fantastic job, I thought. You know, the dust on the wardrobe, the makeup. You know, Susie, the makeup artist that was looking after me, would spend, you know, hours just like dirtying me up and getting me as dirty as she can, and that really helped for me to kind of get myself there, get myself into that position. And I remember there was this one day at Army Bay, we're filming, and I had food poisoning, so I was literally vomiting in between takes, you know, and it was had the stomach bug, and you know, they were like, oh, are you okay? Do you want to go home, and all this stuff, and there was this moment when I was, you know, keeling over in the back of the bushes, going, man, this is what they were experiencing, because they all had terrible stomach bugs, you know. So this is what I was actually kind of getting a taste of the hardship that they were going through. Yet, you know, I had people look after me. They were just out in Gallipoli, you know, having bullets fly past them while they're kind of keeling over with this, you know, with the sickness. So, so for me, you know, being on set was incredible. It was a real team effort, an amazing experience. Yeah.